Hi guys, imagine what it's like to have been an expat in Paris for over 50 years. That is exactly what today's interview guest has done. He's been here since 1965, as you're about to hear, and he shares his thoughts on what it's like to be a foreigner. He's British, a foreigner in Paris for so long, the differences between the people, the language, even talk about the cool places in Paris, kind of things we usually do. But before we get into that interview, I just thought I'd give you a bit of a backstory about how it came to be. I was actually walking through the Marais with my girlfriend way back in the summer, and we were lost, and we were looking for a cafe. And while we're talking about it, we must look like tourists almost. We were looking left and right, checking our phones, and this older chap came up, and it turns out he couldn't help us with the directions, but we got talking, and I told him that I'd been sort of keeping an eye out to meet the longest-serving expat in Paris. And I figured at over 50 years of experience, he would do well, and he agreed to come on the show. So we met, and he invited me to his house. I didn't drag him up the stairs with this studio, which I thought was fair enough for anyone over 70. Apologies to John Baxter for bringing you up here, by the way. But we got talking in his house, and this is what you're about to hear, the conversation from his couch, a lovely house also down in that kind of Marais area, with an amazing door knocker on the front that actually prompted my recent blog post of all the best door knockers in Paris. Anyway, this is a bit of a slower interview. Enjoy it. Not the kind of fast-paced stuff that we usually do, although there is a quick fire round at the end. And don't forget to hang around for Corey's story, this time about another Englishman who left his legacy in France, and Paris especially, through the form of water fountains. So don't forget to hang around at the end for that, and I'll leave you with my conversation with Jim Bain. And one more thing, this is the first time we've had a guest on who hasn't got a Facebook page, isn't trying to promote himself in any way. So if you'd like to do me a favor, send this one to a friend or give it a like on Facebook. It'll help me get the word out and do more interesting episodes with interesting people who aren't out promoting a brand or anything like that. Enjoy the show.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.
Okay, so it's recording now.
Right.
So just so we remember at the start, you've been here since 1970.
Yes.
Oh, that's when you first moved here.
Yeah, but I lived here maybe 5 years before that as well.
Okay.
I mean, for a short while.
Okay, so all in all, you've
I know the city very well since about 65.
Since 1965,
Yeah.
and you're 71 years old.
That's right.
And your full name's Jim.
Jim Bain.
Jim Bain. Okay, that's
And
the
I'm
easy.
getting older every minute.
Yeah. That's the easy questions.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned before something I thought was interesting. You said never lose your accent,
No.
and you said you'll never lose your accent because you'll never become French.
No, not exactly. You don't lose your accent because there are 7 million of us on the planet, and that means it's very hard.
Hang on, 7 billion, isn't it?
7 billion,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Oh, did I say 7 million? Please excuse me. Yeah, there are 7 billion of us.
Just
on
like
the
that.
planet. Yeah. And so before you, even if you're a real bright spark, I mean, the basic job is to be noticed in the first place. If you've got an accent, you're already standing out a little bit, So that is a tool that's working for you it's swimming in your direction for you. So the last thing you want to do is try and lose it. So at least if you open your mouth and you have an accent, they remember, oh, that's it. He was the one in the interview that had the accent, or he was British, or he was Australian, or he was you're already a few streets ahead. And as well, it enables you to say things like, when people have been stringing syllables together, like in jargon, it enables you to say something like, excuse me, sir, what exactly does that mean for somebody naive like me?
Right.
And it's usually followed. It's usually followed by So you can't do that straight if you haven't got an accent.
Right.
If you're a local, you can't do that.
So it also kind of levels the playing field as well in a way.
Yeah, it's one of your pluses.
Right.
There are minuses when you're a foreigner, but that's one of your pluses.
So what are some of the minuses of being a foreigner in France?
There are not very many. Not too many. In my experience, there are not too many. only the problem is that you have to get hold of the language, and that takes some time, obviously, and that's probably wasted time, when you could be doing things that are more important for you. But apart from that, I don't think there are too many. I mean, as a foreigner, you have a few things going for you that you don't when you're at home. You have pluses and you have minuses, and when you're at home, you have nothing. You're just Joe Bloggs like everybody else. You might be a smarter Joe Bloggs or a funnier Joe Bloggs, but you're just another Joe Bloggs. I think that accents and having a different perspective on things are a help. They are a help.
So what about as someone who's been in France for over 50 years, spent time in France for over 50 years? There might be people listening to this who are thinking to move to France or who've just moved to France. What would be your advice in terms of learning the language? Is it just get it done straight away?
Don't learn it.
Don't learn it.
Just absorb it.
All right.
And you walk down the road, you want to buy a pack of cigarettes, you're going to have to find out how to ask for a pack of cigarettes. Once you find out how to ask for a pack of cigarettes, you don't forget.
Yeah, right.
And you absorb it anyway, just like a kid.
Yeah.
Don't bother flagellating yourself to go and learn. There's one basic tip for Englishmen, or Anglo-Saxons, shall I say, is that every word that ends in ION is the same in both languages.
Right.
So, and the most important one is direction.
Right.
Direction Paris, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, what about the idea that we've talked about, the idea of becoming French? You're a foreigner, I'm a foreigner in France.
Yeah.
Did you ever become French? And I don't mean literally with a passport or citizenship. No.
It's not going to happen.
Why not?
Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen because we're not running on the same software as these guys. We come from a different direction.
Direction.
Yes, we come from a different direction. We are practical people. When we're told not to walk over the yellow line, we don't walk over the yellow line. We queue up after each other, which gives us a certain way of doing things. And we are not going to become like them. It doesn't happen. These people had a revolution, and they had Napoleon, who was a military dictator 15 years later. It's not going to happen. We don't do things like this.
Are you speaking as an Englishman or just as an outsider?
I can only speak as an Englishman,
sure.
But I think it would probably be valid for any Anglo-Saxon and anybody from Northern Europe. These Latins don't do things like we do.
So is the secret to
but that's what makes it fun, yeah. That's why you're here anyway.
Yeah. And is the secret to blend in or to just amuse yourself by watching?
I don't know. I haven't found the secret yet. If I have another 50 years, maybe I'll tell you.
What about other tips? Not forgetting language.
It's true. I don't have the secret. I still don't understand how the French see things or feel things. I know why they do certain things. I know that when you do this, it makes a certain reaction, but I don't know totally why. So I have to keep asking my wife, how do the French see this?
She's a French woman.
Yeah, and I listen to the radio, not to hear what's going on, but to hear how the French see what's going on,
Yeah, a different perspective on what you see.
Yeah, because I don't think or feel things as they do. It doesn't matter. They're very tolerant about it. They're very tolerant about me not working the way they do. And I'm not sure that life would have been as easy for me in England as it has been here. just because it's easier going here. You know, you don't go down and move your car on the parking meter because it's been there for 2 hours. You know, you leave it there for 3 weeks if you want. You know?
Do you think, you mentioned that the French tolerate you? Do you think that's do you think that's the way to put how French people have treated you over the past 5 decades, or have they, you know, are you like a curiosity to them, the man speaking with a British accent?
No, I think they've put up with me.
Yeah.
You know, I think that tolerated, no, is not the word. I think they have, you see, if I can exaggerate a little bit.
Please do.
If you walk into a French office, you know, where people work, they have their postcards, you know, stuck up on the wall, and it's, you know, these guys very often, you know, even in somewhere like a post office, they kiss each other good morning. You know, it's easy going. You know, you don't go in and say, "Oh, give me that report, please." You go in and you say, you know, "Oh, hello, how's the wife? How's the kids? Everything going okay? Oh, by the way, Joe, could you give me that report to you?" And, you know, and we don't. We go in. Can I have that report, please? By 3 o'clock, and this is very abrupt for them, you know. This is like, we're like hard as nails people very often, and but they've been quite tolerant on the whole about it. You know?
What does that say about French people?
I don't know. I know what you want me to say, but I'm not going to say it.
I don't even know what I want you to say.
Yeah.
Does it mean they enjoy life a bit more than other Anglo-Saxons?
Oh, for sure. These people have a month's holiday, you know. God, I don't know what happens now in England, but when I was a kid, you know, we had 2 weeks holiday and we went away for 1.
Yeah.
You know, these guys have a month's holiday. They have five weeks holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, you go to the States, what does everybody do? They work. They watch television.
They don't get much holiday at all in the States.
No.
Very little.
No. And they don't have any unemployment. No, sure. Things are easier here, for sure.
Seems like you made the right choice, Jim.
Well, I don't have anything to compare it with, so...
You're smiling, though. That's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
What about... one more thing I want to talk about, one last kind of topic, is when you moved here, or when you first started coming here, do you remember the places that you used to hang out? And do you know if these are still the sort of places that young foreigners and expats are hanging out? The reason I bring it up, for one thing, is we've talked a lot on this show about how Hemingway used to be always hanging around in the left bank, and now that's expensive, tourist central. No broke writer would ever be living there. So the city's changed from that perspective a bit. Yes. But I wonder, in your time, if you've noticed those kind of...
Yes, for sure. I mean, everything seems to... Before, there was the left bank, and there was nowhere else. And now everything seems to have moved over to the right bank. Anything that's going on that is new is happening this side and not that side. That side happened in the 50s, you know, and it seems to be that everything is going on now that's new is happening here. For sure, that in that perspective, things have changed dramatically. As well, there was a tendency, I think we were talking before, for things, money, businesses to be going more and more to the west. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the last studies I read, all the companies want to be back in town. They all want to be back in the center of town, and they're all moving back. Everybody, I looked at the statistics for office space. It's all being bought in. They all want to be in the first and second arrondissement.
Yeah.
You know, wow, this is new. They were all moving out to La Défense before, you know, which is halfway from here to Belgium. You know.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there's hardly any space in the first and second arrondissements.
That's their problem, not mine. They want to be there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, where do you see Paris going?
Where do I see Paris going? Wow, that is really tough. I don't know. It's becoming more and more of a city that's not in competition with European. It's in competition with cities like London, New York, it's that kind of thing. It's not in competition with Bordeaux, and it's on the list with London, New York.
It's a
maybe
world
Berlin.
stage player.
Yes, it's sure, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where they want to be, and that's where it's going to be more and more, I suppose. Places is becoming more and more expensive. Everybody's in a race for the tiniest little square centimetre they can grab. I mean, they're buying apartments and then trying to add in a room here and add in a room here, or divide this room into 2 rooms, or maybe if we punched a hole in here and had half a window, we'd get another room. And
Yes.
and already it's the densest city in Europe.
Mm.
So it's I don't know. It's getting bigger, that's for sure. I mean, now they're going to build 250 kilometers of metro line, and 70 new metro stations all around Paris.
Great. What do they call it? Grand Paris?
Grand Paris. Yeah.
All right, Jim. Something I often do with guests on my show.
Is this going to hurt, Doctor?
What I often do is a quick fire round where I ask 5 quick questions. You're not supposed to think too much about it.
That's very helpful for me.
But are you game to give it a go?
Well, not thinking is something I'm very good at, yeah.
All right, you'll be perfect for it. Okay.
Yeah.
What is a great place to grab a coffee in Paris?
I'm a very staid person when it comes to grabbing coffee and this sort of thing. The great place to grab a coffee, if it's in summer, is on the banks of the Seine. You can get a coffee for €1.
An espresso?
You get an espresso if that's what you want. If you want a café allongé, which gives you a big cup of coffee, a table, 3 chairs.
Whereabouts are you getting this?
On the banks of the Seine.
What, the whole banks along it? You can go and get it?
Yeah. There's one place next to just down from the Pont Saint-Louis.
Right.
And they give you newspaper. If you want, you can sit and read the newspaper in the sunshine.
We know where to find you in
for
the sun.
€1. For €1, man, you can't do better than this.
That's
anyway.
good entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay, what about question 2? Yeah. What's the worst habit of Parisians?
The worst habit of Parisians? I don't really know.
Quick fire.
The worst habit of Parisians? Smoking, maybe, because I've become a non-smoker for a long time. Okay. And so everybody who smokes, who wants a drink, because the cafes, you can't smoke in them anymore. Sure. They're smoking on the terrace. Yeah. And I like to sit on the terrace too, so it's the smokiest place in the world.
You can't escape it.
Yeah, on top of the pollution. So,
right. Okay, best habit, we've got to show both sides. Best habit of Parisians?
Best habit of Parisians. Wow, it's really is quick fire and tough ones, huh? The best habit of Parisians is sitting on the terrace. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, that's a good habit.
Yeah, I mean, like this, you can sit and look at everybody, criticize everybody who walks past.
It's a great city for people watching.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, look, who can wear that? Who can possibly wear shoes like that? Where did you buy? Did you buy them?
Okay, 2 more. Where's one place that you'd take a tourist who's never been here before?
One place that I would take a tourist who's never been here before, is that ignoring places like the well-known places? Or
it can be anything you want. It can be as secret or as well-known as you like.
Well, apart from all the main ones, I would take them to Rue Oberkampf because it's vibrant, and they're not going to really find it on their own unless they go thumbing through guidebooks. The 11th arrondissement has become a great place, and it's full of nice cafes and fun things going on.
Some are calling it the edgy 11th arrondissement. What do you think
edgy
about that?
11th arrondissement, yeah. I think it's probably, as soon as they start calling it the edgy, that means it's not the edgy anymore.
Maybe it's just me that's calling it.
Yeah, it's like the stock market. If everybody knows, it's too late.
Oh, Okay, last question, and it's about arrondissements. If you had to spend the rest of your days in just one, which would it be?
Well,
you got 20 to choose from.
Well, I got the one where I live already, so which is the 11th, and I'm very happy here.
Sticking with the 11th?
Yeah, I'll stick with the 11th. Yeah.
And why? And you got to explain it a bit more than just living here. Is there anything around besides Rue Oberkampf that you like here?
Yeah, everything. All the young people that are doing things, they're opening cafes and they're opening new businesses that are small, and they're all like fun, interesting places, interesting businesses. And I spend a lot of my time just looking in the shop windows. Somebody's got a new business. Wow, that's interesting.
It's an evolving city, right?
Yeah, and even the decor, the decorations they got in the stores, it's nice. It's all happening, man. So, I've if there's one thing that makes me feel a little bit out of date is that I'm not doing it and they are, which is a healthy sort of place to live, I think.
Well, lucky that you enjoy people watching, because it's the perfect city to
for sure
to be doing that.
Yeah, that's true enough. Yeah.
All right, well, Jim, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciated talking to you.
Yeah, well, I send you the bill, man.
So that was my interview with Jim, and now I'm back in the studio in the 10th arrondissement with Mr. Corey Fry.
Yes, let's hear my jingle.
It's a Corey story.
There's your jingle.
Nice.
What have you got for me today?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about another Brit. I know you were telling me about this guy, this gentleman.
Jim.
Old Jim?
Yeah.
Does he call himself Old Jim?
I call him Old Jim.
Okay.
I don't know how he feels about that, but that's okay. He doesn't have Facebook, so I don't know if he's going to...
Makes me wonder what you call me behind my back.
Old Corey. Older Corey.
So I wanted to tell you about a Brit, not just any Brit, but one who made a profound mark on Paris, and you can actually see evidence of this gentleman wherever you walk. His name was Richard Wallace. Have you ever seen those big green fountains with these ladies, sculpted ladies holding up the roof of the fountain?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I've tried to drink
amazing.
from one before.
Well, you should, because it's very high quality water. It's
That's what we were
essentially-
discussing just the other day, me and a friend, if you could drink the water. And you know what we did? We just drank it to find out.
Absolutely.
That's
And
the
you're
kind of guy I am.
And you're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a renegade.
What's Mr. Wallace got to do with these
Well,
fountains?
Sir Richard Wallace was actually...
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, he was an aristocrat.
Okay.
And he was a very sort of prominent during the Franco-Prussian War. He helped out Paris when they were getting besieged by the Prussians, and people grew to love him, in fact.
He could have helped with food, because as we know from your previous story, when they were getting besieged by the Russians, they ran out of food.
By the Prussians, yeah.
What did I say?
Russians.
No, I mumbled.
Fair enough.
He could have brought some food instead of some fountains.
Well, but listen, people needed food, but they also needed water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so all the aqueducts were wiped out by the siege and whatnot. And so Richard Wallace, who was a philanthropist and living in Paris, decided to give a gift to the Parisians, whom he loved so. So what he did was he designed these beautiful cast iron fountains that you could still see today. And okay, so you know that turning water into wine is considered quite a feat, right? Historically in the Bible.
Sure.
Well, what if I told you that this gentleman Wallace turned wine into water?
I would say that can't be done.
It's slightly less impressive,
Okay.
but that's exactly what he did, because let me tell you what happened. When he installed these cast iron fountains, which you can see, they're beautiful dark green fountains with
They're everywhere.
4 ladies everywhere. Yeah, there's one in front of Shakespeare and Company and up in Montmartre and everywhere you look. So there was such a lack of water that there was a problem with public drunkenness. So people were getting smashed on wine all the time, and they were constantly buzzed, men, women, and children walking through the streets in the 1870s.
Really?
Okay. So what he did was he decided to combat that by installing these fountains and allowing Parisians to get fresh water and not be drinking wine all the time.
Ah,
So he turned wine into water, essentially, in Paris.
I see.
Now, in fact, those 4 women that you classically see, and I'm sure on your blog you're going to show a nice, beautiful photo of this fountain so people can see what we're talking about. Those 4 ladies represent 4 specific ideas. They represent charity, kindness, simplicity, and the 4th one is sobriety.
Sobriety. Yeah.
Literally, to bring sobriety to Paris.
So these are from the 1870s.
From the 1870s, he installed them, absolutely. Now, sometimes they're nicknamed the Brasserie des Quatre Femmes, the brasserie of the 4 women.
Good pronunciation. And it's lucky because we don't have James here anymore to help us with the pronunciation.
Well, when I hear Lindsay Tremuta speak beautifully in French here, I need to up my game.
Yeah, me too.
She's got the accent down.
Maybe she just knew how to say arrondissements.
Maybe she's just been practicing that one word.
Mm.
Yeah. So some details you can find with these beautiful cast iron fountains is, first of all, there's usually a little ring where there used to be a chain attached to a metallic cup. and it used to dangle down on the side of the fountain so the public could come and use the cup to fill up and drink the water that's cycling through. But then they were removed because they were too unhygienic, apparently. And then also, interestingly, the four ladies are squeezed together close enough because in the 1870s, you had no automobiles yet. So you had horses running around everywhere, right? And so to keep the horses from coming in and contaminating the drinking fountains, the women were squeezed close enough together.
So it's just the right size to not let a horse's head through.
Exactly.
Or a human head.
Human head, it can be done. I've seen people do it.
I couldn't do it. What does that say
That'll
about
be your
me?
next Facebook Live video. We're going to prop you up upside down and squeeze your head through those women.
That'd be pretty good. You know what? Actually, this is funny because just the other day I was at Parc Montsouris, and there's one out the front, a Wallace fountain out the front, and I was trying to drink from it, but there was obviously no cup attached.
Right.
And so all I could do was put my hand in.
Oh, yeah.
There was a button to get it, so it wasn't naturally flowing.
Okay.
You had to press a button.
Okay.
And then I just filled one hand up and had to drink like
Yeah.
a common prisoner. Well, how are you meant to drink?
Well, that's
out of
really
it?
all you
You're meant to
deserve,
put a
really.
bottle in there, I guess.
Yeah, you put a
Yeah.
water bottle. And so just so you know, I mean, it's clean drinking water, or Parisian tap water, which is actually considered around Europe to be quite good quality water. So next time you see a Wallace fountain, don't be afraid to maybe not squeeze your head between the ladies, but at least prop your bottle up and
I
get a
wonder
drink.
if anyone's got stuck in them before.
That would make a pretty viral video, I think.
Okay, we can organise that as well. Well, there you go. Another week, another story from Corey. You nailed it. Wallace fountains.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah.
I've learned something.
Am I invited back for another one next week?
Watch this space. No, of course you are. We'll see you then, and stay tuned for that episode, guys. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, follow, share, and tell your friend. Send your friend an email. Say, hey, you will like this show.
Now, you said tell your friend to imply that your listeners only have one friend each.
Yeah.
That's a little bit.
Do you think they go more?
Thanks.
Tell a friend, and if you can prove to me that you told a friend about this show, I'll give you a shout out on the air.
If you can drag your friend up here into the studio and prove.
Nah, just send me a screenshot of the conversation. If someone sends me a screenshot that says, hey, friend, you'd like this show, and then we'll see what their response is, I'll read it out on the air.
There you go.
Okay. I'll leave you guys with that little challenge for the week, and we'll see you in a week's time. Goodbye, au revoir, à bientôt.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.